Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Walking 90. As you can tell, I am taking on hosting duties this week. I'm Kyle Carr. Yogi is drunk somewhere in Mexico on a beach, we think. He's definitely not sober. We know that for sure. Ebony had to take care of a personal matter, and Brandon is still being the best parent out of all of us. But I do have Chip on here with me. Chip, how's it going?
Good. You had all the good hosts skipping out this week, so you're stuck with me again. So
I was going to say, when it gets to me having to do the hosting duties, that's how you know we're running on fumes over here. That's what happens, but it happens either way. But the first thing I guess we'll want to talk about, we're going to kind of go over this previous week's matches. We're going to talk about the U.S. Open Cup. We'll do the preview of the upcoming matches this week. We'll talk about some of the news, including Coach of the Month, Player of the Month, along with Goal of the Month, and then we'll kind of think who is our top three teams. So the biggest thing we're going to try and do is not fight with our respective front offices about swearing. We are going to swear. If someone were to text us and say, hey, don't swear, we're not going to put a Twitter post on it. We're not going to create a banner. We're not going to make a big deal out of it. It is what it is. I think that's a fair way to start the show, right?
I think that's fair. I was talking to one of the FO members who will let remain nameless, and they said a curse word. And I said, oh, don't let the league hear you say that. And they just rolled their eyes and like, is that still happening? I was like, yeah, unfortunately, it still is.
I was going to say, I did have a player, because I had a couple tweets, and I did have a player reach out. He's like, you're talking about them, aren't you? I was like, oh, yeah. He's like, yeah, we played them in the past. I have nothing good to say. I was like, how in depth do you want to go about this? Like maybe like when we get maybe someday I'll go on a nice little rant about it. But for now, I'm just gonna keep silent. It's like okay, but yeah, that's the thing, and all that only to lose on penalties in the U.S. Open Cup. Speaking of,
that was pretty funny.
I had a good time watching that. But we can start off with the U.S. Open Cup, recapping the matches. First and foremost, Union Omaha is now the last USL League One team standing.
And last Division 3 team standing.
And because they are the last Division 3 team standing, they get a nice little cash bonus to go with that. That was a thing that was going to start in 2020, is the last remaining team in each tier was going to get a bonus. So I know the fourth tier got one. I think an amateur team got one. So now Union Omaha will get it for Division 3, being the last USL League 1, MLS Next Pro, and NISA team remaining after the unfortunate losses from USL League 1 for Richmond and Tormenta. NoCo had played Omaha, so there's at least one team that was going to make it. And then the third team was the Cal United Strikers out of NISA, but they had fallen short to LA Galaxy. But we'll talk first about the Union Omaha match, because I think that was the one that obviously, in terms of league interests, I guess would make sense, just because it was two USL League One teams. Chip, you were there. In your opinion, how was that match? I will be straight up honest. I did not watch it. The Milwaukee Bucks were playing in Game 5 and nearly killing me, but also giving me joy at the same time.
Yeah, it was a great time. They had about 2,000 people there from what I heard talking to people. NoCo had a pretty sizable contingent out. So great atmosphere. We're playing at Caniglia Field, which is a home of the UNO Mavericks. So it's kind of cool. We played at all the college venues in the state now, or in the city now, for the Open Cup. First half was not wasn't our best, but we kind of had the win at our back. We had some chances. We definitely looked like the better team the entire game. And then in the second half, that's when things really went Union Omaha's way. We had a goal by No Meza, who is starting to become a really, really good striker. I believe he's tied for like third or fourth in the Golden Boot, along with JP Scarce, also of Union Omaha. And then we had a goal by Captain Connor Doyle, which was great in that, 2-0 is a very scary lead. So everyone was prematurely kind of celebrating, but we're all like, well, hold on. For the meme stuff, though, which was pretty funny. One, it was like 100 degrees here yesterday, and Eamon put on a Irish fishing sweater.
Yeah, I had questions when I saw that. I don't know. For those that it is currently 90 something, with the humidity, it feels like 100. So the fact that someone is wearing a sweater on the sideline and it's still humid, so it's not like it's not the dry heat. It's humid as hell. So to wear that kind of sweater, we're gonna have to ask him why. were you trying to be tough? Were you just trying, or were you like trying to sweat out toxins or something? Like there's no reason to be wearing that in this weather.
Yeah, so we all had a good laugh about that because those things are, as a guy who owns a couple, they're very, very warm. They're very warm sweaters. So that was funny. Omaha fans had some funny comments and were kind of ribbing them. They had the really bright idea of putting the supporter section right behind the Northern Colorado bench, which was, I enjoyed it.
As long as as long as no lines were crossed, I think that's fine.
Yeah. So that was fun. It was kind of fun bantering back and forth. I had the opportunity to talk to some NoCo people, which was cool. And then the best part of the game, potentially, they did a Madison-esque 9 minutes of stoppage time for some reason after we were up 2-0. Jay was not happy. Jay said some comments that you can find online if you're looking for them. If you can't find them, let me know and I'll show you where they're at, which was really funny. So they carted Jay up and the whole stadium started doing the J Mims chant that we have. And they had all the drums running. So it's one big grandstand and they were running all the drums along the grandstand, getting people to get in on the chant. So the whole stadium was singing J Mims after he got a yellow card. And he's starting to get himself a bit of a reputation.
I was going to say, he can't afford, if he had gotten suspended, it would have gone to the next match in the Open Cup. So it's not like he has to serve it. That would be the worst time. Like Drew Connor for Ford Madison, no matter where he goes next year, if that team is in the US Open Cup, he is suspended for that game. So I think there is, I don't remember, there's definitely a player, I think it was Clint Dempsey, where someone has it where they are still technically suspended. So if they ever do jump back on a team, they have to serve that suspension. I think it's Clint Dempsey. I honestly want to believe.
Which for him would be interesting too if he started coaching, if he'd still have to serve it.
I think so.
But we'll talk about that a bit in the pregame. But he's also serving a suspension this upcoming weekend at Richmond. So I don't know if he's even traveling with the team. I imagine he will, because I imagine they left today and they'll do some stuff. But so he's free at that game. If you're a Richmond fan and you see him, tell him.
I was going to say he's probably gonna be sitting in the stadium watching.
Yeah, he'll be the guy with like a really like angry look on his face the entire game. But if you say hi to him, he'll be really friendly.
Off. You're just gonna see like one person just like on their lonesome. It's like, wait, hold on, zoom. They're gonna have the camera zoom in for that.
Yeah, dressed in all black. But no, it was a fun game. It was enjoyable to be at Caniglia. It's a really cool venue. It really makes me wish that where we played now, which is Warner Park, the baseball field, was a little bit more intimate, because that was smaller than most of our crowds for Union Omaha games, but it felt a lot bigger because you were all together in one stand. And even the supporters on the berm, normally they all kind of peter out around the edges, but all being in one like big block behind the bench was really nice. And even though there's probably less than we normally have, it felt like there was a lot more. And yeah, it was a great game overall. And then went out for some celebratory drinks and came home and watched Cal United almost pull the comeback.
They were close. They had their chances. I honestly thought like it was getting. I thought like maybe they'll equalize it, because they took the early lead. Then LA Galaxy came back, scored 3 goals. 2 of them were pens, and then Cal United did get the late one. So it was kind of one of those. Maybe they'll get an equalizer, and then you look at the stats. It's like, nope. Okay, that was just a weird. Everything went Cal United's way when they shot it, but I mean, good on Cal United. In terms of the other USL League One matches, South Georgia Tormenta fell short against Inter Miami. They lost 1-3 down in Fort Lauderdale, and the Richmond Kickers lost 1-5 to Charlotte FC. The score, I don't think, properly reflects how that game went. Richmond were very much in it for the first hour, and then it kind of started petering out, and Charlotte just kind of had some quick fire goals left and right. So that was the unfortunate part. So that's kind of the big thing with the Open Cup. I do want to talk about what happened during the Tormenta match. We got to talk about the takedown from Dengler against the Inter Miami player. I got to say, that was a high quality wrestling move. I think Vince McMahon, if you're watching, give that man a call. Tony Khan, you're not that far from Miami. Give him a call. AEW could always use people that aren't from WWE. I'm just saying, very impressive takedown.
Yeah, that was unexpected. I was watching that game with my wife, and I was dicking around on my computer, and all of a sudden she starts screaming, and I was like, "What's the score?" And they're tussling, and I'm rewinding it to see it all, and it was pretty impressive. I made the joke that I know that that's not what the Golden Glove Award is for, but Dangler should win the Golden Glove this year. But it was a fun. I mean, part of me is like, you shouldn't be fighting out there. You guys are professionals. At the same time, it's like crashes in F1, right? As much as it's like, we don't want to see it. Still, like, there's a crash.
You don't want to see it, but it makes it more exciting when it happens.
Right. And, that was weird. I mean, and then again, for Dangler, he clearly wasn't the aggressor of at least the physical portion. Who knows what was going on? I'm sure there was some jabberjawing going on during the game or some hard challenges, and they just decided to take the opportunity to, say what's up. And, even though he didn't start the fight, I think he won it.
Yeah, he definitely won it. He didn't start it, but he definitely ended it and won.
Mm-hmm. And I know he was going around liking tweets about it, so I know he's not feeling too bad about it. And I know I had got some jokes off about it, and some tormented people were front office people were liking it. So I don't think he's in much trouble from the front office.
I mean, it was one of those where, like, yeah, it was like he didn't start it. The player that did, they're already winning. What? I think it was 2-0 at that point. Mm-hmm. It's like, why is he talking shit? Like, it was the goal score too. It's just one of those where it's like a young kid just feeling himself a little bit too much and then gets his ass beat. And that's what happens when you're going against League One. We're going to kick your ass one way or the other. But
right. And I think that's, and I don't know. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but some of those Charlotte fans after their win were that I don't really have much of a soft spot for Charlotte after the Greenville game and the Richmond game.
Yeah. It was like after the Greenville, you'd think that would be humbling. You would think they would have been humbled after the Greenville game. It was like, okay, you're going to be super confident. You think you're going to win this game. You get taken to pretty much added extra time. It was even close until the last 10 minutes. Maybe humble yourself. And then you go against Richmond, who's performing better than Greenville this year. And again, Richmond was in that game for a good chunk of it. Just didn't have the legs to continue it. And then to continue acting like you're the superior team. It's like, all right, when you're going against it, like, that's not going to work against an MLS team. That's not going to go against a team that has depth to rotate.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was ultimately pretty funny because I don't think they realized that everyone jumping down their throats weren't Richmond fans.
Oh yeah, that's.
So I was getting some. You got
all Richmond. It was like, no, this is just the league fans.
Yeah, because they're like, one of the guys like, well, you got real quiet. He's like, yeah, my team's playing like currently right now. Here's a picture of the game that I'm at. But I think Brandon brought up a good point during all of that because some guys like, oh, they're gonna, which they ended up beating them pretty badly. But he's like, well, we're gonna win because we've got this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. And Brandon's like, you're just naming players. Like, that's all you're doing. Like, here's the stats.
That's the thing that bothered me the most. It's like, oh, we have Christian Fuchs. Okay. And it's not like he is not a world beater player. Like, he was on a Premier League champion. He was a starter on said Premier League champion. But it's not like, this is not Alphonso Davies, like, that came in. This is not, if it was Andy Robertson, it's not, a player that is at the peak of their power. Like, this is just a dude that he was a starter for a Premier League champion, which is nothing to scoff at, but it's not like he was ever considered world class. It's not like he was ever considered one of the best in the league. So to kind of use that as like, we have him and everything's going to be fine. It's like, well, no. Like, this is America. It's the same as AFCON. No one cares who your name is. We saw Tormenta make Higuain look more washed than he already is.
Yeah.
Well, like, your name does not mean shit.
Yeah, and that was the frustrating thing about that game was Tormenta definitely seemed like
they should have won that. I think they're going to look back and say we should have won that game.
Yeah, and I think Brandon had a really great summary of it where it's like the difference between Tormenta and Inter Miami was when Inter Miami got their chances, they were able to kind capitalize on them. Tormenta was not.
Yeah.
You know, they had 1,000 shots that should have gone on frame but didn't, and it was just it's unfortunate. But you know, at the same time, you know, Omaha gets the prize money now and bragging rights. So yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
but it would have been cool to have two.
Because the draw's happening literally probably any time now. So we'll provide our recap or
I'm looking for it. So I did hear some breaking news. They actually have balls this time.
Oh.
So we'll have pots instead of
just
envelopes.
whatever the envelopes.
Yeah, well, it's kind of cool that they I thought it was on ESPN, and this is, you know, bad radio, but I thought it was on ESPN, but I think
it's normally on their YouTube channel though.
Well, I think today they said it was on ESPN.
Because Omaha can draw Minnesota. Who's in their
Minnesota, pot? Houston, or SKC.
Yep. Because Minnesota beat Colorado in the game that initially started last night, but due to weather, had to be postponed until today. So they played at noon. Minnesota won 2-1. The game was stopped at, I think, like midway through the first half at 1-1. So,
well,
late goal.
Everyone's going to find this out in a second, but Omaha has put in a bid to host, allegedly at Warner Park. So that would be very, very cool if we were able to host well, anybody would be cool, but especially I think if you're in Omaha, you definitely have your eyes on SKC to play at home. That'd be really fun. And even if they're away, you know, they'll probably be a pretty sizable contingent of Omaha fans going down. Sorry,
that's all right, because we have a surprise. Surprise.
Hi.
What is up? We've been talking US Open Cup.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, that's fine. We were just talking about how Charlotte FC was getting full of themselves despite nearly getting humbled twice. We talked about Tormenta and the fight. And now we're waiting to see what the draw is going to be for Omaha. So.
Oh, doesn't that start? They're doing the new whip around for that, correct?
They are.
Look at the Open Cup getting bougie on us.
They're acting big league now. We're getting to the round of 16. They gotta take this shit seriously now.
So if you're looking for the draw, it's on Football Americas. It's not listed in classic US Open Cup style. They did it super janky and didn't have it as US Open Cup draw. It's under Football Americas.
Wasn't it also supposed to be? Is that ESPN Plus?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. So they just fucking up all the way around. Okay, this is what I come back to.
Yep.
All right.
Although I will say, shout out to Hercules Gomez and Sebastian Salazar for doing their goal cast. I heard a lot about it. I think it's a cool way to kind of know what was going on. I think doing more of that, like if they can somehow find a way to incorporate that more, not just for the US Open Cup, but if they could do, like, we'll do it for USL League One. Like, we can volunteer ourselves, pay us, and we'll do it. USL Championship or even MLS. Like, I think it is a cool idea, though, to have different players and coaches come on and talk to them. So I think that could be a good thing that they can do moving forward. And hopefully for next year, they do it. And especially for, you know, the first and second round.
Well, it's the minor things that we should be doing to make this tournament feel like more of a big deal. I kind of had a comment on that last night of, you know, it's really easy for us to sit here and criticize MLS teams, but, you know, even like lower league fan teams, if it's not an MLS team, we're not filling it up. Like, we didn't sell out a 3,000 person stadium last night, even though we averaged more than that per game and have for the past 3 years. But, you know, I just think so much of it is just so many people just don't know what this tournament is.
I think it's a combination of that and it being a weekday.
Also, the fact that it was like there was so much hype leading up to it, and then we lost it for like 2 years, and it came back, so it doesn't have that same umph, I guess.
I could see it bouncing back next year, especially with all the cup sets that happen. I think it's going to be good if it can get back to being a yearly thing, but also have the games on weekends. I think that would be a huge boost. For those teams that hosted MLS, like, I feel pretty confident if Ford Madison had Minnesota United on a Saturday, it would have been sold out or near sold out. And if it, the weather cooperates, if, Richmond City Stadium still did pretty well, like Greenville did sell out, But I think with it being Charlotte, it's a lot closer of a drive. You know, if they can have these games still be on a weekend, that gives it more of a bigger feel. That gives it more of away fans could travel. So I think I know I saw that comment, like having the games be on the weekend would be a big boost. But I mean, for Madison, it was just the weather was shit. Like that Minnesota United Open Cup match, the weather is just miserable. Like every Ford Madison match has been this year. So I know that did not contribute to it, but I think that is something that in the future, though, having those games on a weekend, and I think having the lower league team hosting would really draw more excitement for the cup.
That's a good off-season podcast idea, is how do we improve the Open Cup? I'll have to remember that. That's a good one. So they're talking about Christian Pulisic right now for some reason. So
you got
we can get back to it once they start the actual draw. Do we want to go and talk about last week's games real quick?
Yep, we are going to jump in to the previous weeks. Yogi's not here, but I'm just going to laugh because Ford Madison got round one of the Henny Derby with a 1-0 win. Don't know how they pulled that off.
I don't either, because
don't know how that happened. Not mad about it. Like, did Ford Madison play well? Not really.
No.
Did they deserve the win? No. Am I okay with it? Yes. You get the win on the road, your first win of the season against Richmond. Justin Succo, well done. I still think, I know Rob and Jeremy were talking on Talking Flock how that should be still credited as a goal because you think it would have been the far corner. I don't care how it happened. I saw a goal, it counted, and that's all I needed. But
only one has to. You only need to win by one. The rest is just for bonus points.
Just like the good old days of the Henny Derby, a 1-0 win, as tradition should have it. None of this 3-2 nonsense that we saw last year.
Nature is healing.
But yeah, that was it. Legitimately was. It, like between the rain, it was not a good match to watch. I will flat out admit it. Like it was not entertaining to watch, but it was interesting seeing Richmond have more of the ball. Because that's normally something Madison wants to do, and Richmond wants to sit back and counter. It was like the roles were flipped. Madison was doing more of the defending and going on a counter, while Richmond was kind of trying to do more of a build-up. But I don't know. Anything either you want to mention for that game?
No, I mean, I was very surprised by the result. I'm not going to lie. I kept my eye on it. That was kind of shocking to me, honestly. That was also the week that I was not like watching a lot of soccer, except for like one game. So, yeah, I mean, what I'm really interested in is that Chattanooga game.
Oh, we'll get there.
That game was wild, but we'll get there.
We'll get there because that I think out of all the games, out of all the results, that was the most surprising. Yeah. But what about you, Chip? I don't know. Because Omaha had the weekend off, so you had a chance to watch all the matches.
Well, I should have had the chance to watch all the matches, but instead I was at a 1-year-old's birthday party.
Ooh.
And then
what was the beer selection? What was the beer selection?
Beer selection was actually pretty good.
That's good.
So there was some local stuff, and it's one of my buddies who's also into beer. So he had some bottles. I brought a Casey peach sour, which went over pretty well. And then we had
a what?
It's a peach sour from a brewery called Casey. They do like a barrel-aged sour program.
I was thinking the gas station. I was like, the gas station has beer?
No.
Hold on. Casey's, I see you out here.
And then we had a West Veletrin 8, which was super cool. Haven't had one of those in a few years. And then he just had some random like barrel-aged stouts that his mom brought from when she moved that he still had from like 2012. So it was interesting. Some of them held up better than others, but it was a fun time. Got to play the fun uncle because his 3-year-old wasn't behaving, but I was following along. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just talk a little shit because I didn't watch the game and don't have much to say. Yogi picked a great week to take vacation because they got beat by Ford Madison, got whomped on by Charlotte, and they're about to lose again to Union Omaha. So
they did not get whomped on. That was a. We'll talk about refereeing because the refereeing that entire week was absolute garbage. Was shit. You can give him shit about that Ford game. That game was.
He just got shit from her. He gets shit from me with Ford Madison winning. He gets shit from his wife with Charlotte winning, and now you got Union Omaha.
It's quite the murderer's row if things don't go your way.
Yep. And he's over 2. So,
and he was trying to avoid it, but he kept getting dragged into like Charlotte fans saying really dumb shit on Twitter. And he's just like, what? I'm on vacation. Why are you dragging me into this?
You can't escape. You can't escape bullshit. That's why. Also, shout out ESPN Plus for having the wrong time. So most people missed the first like 20 minutes of the match. Great job on the timing. We'll move on to the next match. We'll get to Chattanooga, but I want to talk about the Tormenta Charlotte Independence. I think this was kind of one of those where Tormenta with their stout defense going against Charlotte with their ridiculous attack, which side was going to prevail? And the answer is Tormenta with a 0-0 draw. Not really much to say about it. It was just Tormenta's defense is legit. Like, this was the ultimate, like, okay, is the defense actually this good? Because you look at some of the other teams they play, it's like, all right, North Carolina got the goal, but it was like one of those, okay, whatever. Then they play Greenville. It's like, okay, Greenville's struggling offensively. Like, they are bad. They're worse than Ford Madison in the attack. Then it was like, okay, then you get Charlotte, and it's like, all right, now I'm curious to see how are they actually going to do, because, you know, they drew Union Omaha, although they were down to 10 men, so they kind of just held on. They play Greenville. Greenville's not anything to really say much about. They played Tucson, not much to say about. So they get Charlotte, and they shut Charlotte out. So shout out to you, Tormenta. I did not expect this.
I mean, that game was, it was very much all defense, because I still don't even know if Charlotte really plays defense well. Like, they play enough to get by, but do they play it well? And that was kind of that game to test that, really. Seems like it, but I don't know what to make of that team yet. Both, actually, but I'm kind of got more faith in Georgia at the moment, at South Georgia. And they're my next team to play. So who knows? Let's see if that defense holds up, because now my guys are kind of in a rhythm and getting some scoring chances, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, there wasn't much. I mean, I think both teams combined for 24 shots and only 3 of them were on target.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are play numbers. Like, I don't know if we can like like that's just a lot of not doing anything, it feels like. So
it really is just Tormenta. I think really the only thing that told me is Tormenta's defense is legit. I can't really skip much out of it. Like, Charlotte probably could have done better, but at the same time, they had Mbuyu back, so it's not like they were shorthanded like before. It's just, yeah, Tormenta's good. So I don't know how long this defensive, like, how ridiculously good defensively they're going to continue being, but they are definitely a team to watch. So that was the exciting one. Now, the result that I think caught everyone by surprise, not necessarily because of who won, just of the manner they won, and that was Chattanooga winning 4-1 against NoCo. And honestly, like, it looked like it was going to be a close match at the beginning, and then Chattanooga just completely turned it around in the second half. So, Eboni, I know you wanted to talk about it, so go ahead.
I don't know, because we're used to Chattanooga of old, where they scored late, they smash and grab, and you're left feeling frustrated. This was like a complete game. Like, that's a lot of offensive scoring. You got a guy with a brace, like a lot of early scoring and a lot of sitting back defense. Like, they gave up that early goal, and then we're like, oh, okay, sport mode. And then they just kind of went fucking ham. So, like, was this the Chattanooga we're expecting to see for the rest of the season, where it's just an onslaught? Because god damn, I gotta change some predictions.
I mean, I did not expect Chattanooga. It was a complete performance. It was just they just dominated NoCo. And that was one of the things that I was curious to see, like, how much is NoCo going to focus on this match, knowing they had that Open Cup match against Omaha. Like, I wasn't sure to what extent. And they didn't start McLean, which maybe that, like, in hindsight, yeah, that would have helped. But Chattanooga was just, they just went at them. They just kept going at them. And I think it was the relentlessness that we had saw from Chattanooga. And this is with Ortiz on the bench. Like Ortiz was on the bench, Galindros was on the bench, Espana was on, like some of their better players didn't start this match either.
Well, they had 7 shots. They put 4 in the goal.
7 shots, 5 on target, 4 goals. Like that's
wasn't
selective.
There, and only one of them was like a ridiculous banger. Because like Chattanooga's just been scoring bangers all season. Like this time, like one was a set piece. Like it was like well crafted goals. It wasn't just, we're just gonna pull something out of our ass.
But that's the kind of Chattanooga I like. Like I don't want this completely informed, dominated team the entire way. Get selective with your shots because you have the opportunity to throw them in the back of the net for 4 times because 5 are on target. Like I don't like that. No, that's not the Chattanooga I grew up on.
Well, if there's one thing that Chattanooga did stick with, it was the play style and racking up a lot of cards. Lots of cards were in this match. Just 10 total. 7 for Chattanooga, 3 for NoCo, and it was very clear NoCo was getting frustrated.
Light work. That's nothing.
Well, but that's the thing is that's what Chattanooga will do to you though. They really know how to needle their opponents. You know, and that's just what they do. And if you're not disciplined, you're going to go in there and they're going to bait you every single time.
Especially when they're at home. Like it is, and like they'll do it on the road, but at home is really like they're going to shithouse. They're going to annoy the living crap. Then like you said, they're going to try and bait you into doing something stupid or getting sent off. And I mean, NoCo didn't do that, which props to them, but you could tell they were getting very annoyed near the end of the match.
I think Ben on Who Gives a Hoot brought this up that Omaha has never gotten a point there. It's because they had the new stadium since Chattanooga. Yeah, because that opened in 2020. So yeah, it's like our second road game ever was the Lights game.
Oh yeah, god damn it. Yeah, getting points. Like Richmond's always struggled in Chattanooga. I don't think Madison's ever gotten a win in Chattanooga. The last 3 years have been draw. Like the last 3 matches have all been draws for them. But
no, we dropped points there. That was a frustrating one, just because we went up and then they came back stupid late. 2 bangers right off the bat, like super super late into the game. They won 2-1. So
yeah,
we're not taking points from there either.
Which made their result against Tucson a couple weeks ago so shocking. Not only that they lost at home, but in the manner that they did. Like they're used to the ones getting the late goals, and then Tucson was the one that pulled that reversal on it. So I think it's just an impressive home team, and I think that's why that's going to be a team where if they can get the 1 or 2 seed, they're going to be a really dangerous team to face in the postseason. Hopefully they don't. Completely selfish reasons. Hopefully they don't.
I mean, I think my Greenville prediction was a year too early, but
we can talk about Greenville. They drew Fuego. Fuego had their first home game, 1-1 draw. Fuego had again first home game as Fuego, first game in Fresno in a couple of years.
First of all, Fuego scored all the goals. So did they really win?
No one won. It was like Fuego won with the draw. I just want to say though, you guys got to get your shit together operation wise. Fuego, like you gotta, you gotta have it better. Like what the hell was that? Like I saw the back of a woman's head multiple times. Like everything was off.
Yeah, well, then they didn't have sound, so they just
there's no sound. Like I'm sure the crowd was great, but you got to get that shit together.
Yeah, so I follow some of their supporters groups on Instagram, El Squadron, El Fuego, and then like Fuego Fire Squad, and man, it was crazy. Like they had some stuff make some Barra pages on Instagram, like showcasing like this is what's happening in League One. this is crazy. Like soccer's taken off, and it looked very lively. It looked like a lot of fun. They had a lot of instruments. They had a lot of drums, a lot of movement. They had confetti and smoke and the whole 9 yards, but you couldn't hear or experience it. And they had 2,700 people there, which puts them, I think, with Richmond's totals, that should put them second in the league in attendance right now too.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very impressive turnout, especially with all that happened. And I think it's just a good showcase of this is what, when you're trying to pitch USL League One, it's like these are people that have been wanting something like this for so long, and then they get it, and they show you like this is what we're capable of doing right now. And now it's going to be curious to see, like, as the schedule gets more, it's easier to follow. School gets out, how much more of a turnout is going to happen? Because I think Fuego is definitely going to have a solid fan contingent, and I want to be able to hear it. Damn it.
Which hopefully they get that sorted for next game. I'm sure, just with everything going on there, it was just probably something that they didn't realize they had to do.
Yeah, it was weird. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. And NoCo, take notes, please. Make sure you get your shit resolved, because you have no excuse for if things aren't up and running.
You had like a 3-month head start.
You have plenty of time to get everything in order. I know you still got to finish the whole stadium, but like you have no excuse.
So
and then I guess you have the match itself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Greenville surprisingly was more attacking, but man, they cannot convert anything.
I'm just saying.
I'm
this
okay.
Is feeling. Well, didn't they lose? They lost
Lomas.
Thank you.
They lost Lomas. They lost McLean.
Yep. They added Keegan, but he's not really doing much for him. So where's this offense going to come from, Greenville?
That's the big question. That's where is a big question mark. I don't know who's going to be able to score the goals. I think they're going to rely too much on their midfield or on set pieces. And again, they are the lowest conversion rate. I think last I saw, and this was before the Fuego match, so it's probably around the same, if not lower. We can always ask Brandon, but their conversion rate was only at 7%.
Which, especially for them, they're a team that really relied a lot, like the past 3 years, on scoring early and just sitting back. And they really can't do that unless they're scoring. And so I think they're kind of like a turtle on their back right now.
Yeah. And it's interesting because they're not scoring. They have had, I think, every game but I think the North Carolina one. They've been the ones to have more possession. They've been the ones to have more shots. They've been the one to have more chances because they haven't been able to get that goal and then go back to what their bread and butter is. And I think that's going to be a thing where, okay, how many of these, like, again, is Keegan going to turn it around? I don't know. Don Smart, and like we said at the last show, like, this is also a older squad. Like, it's hard to rely on a guy like Keegan, like Don Smart, like some, you're relying on guys that they're on what year, like most of them are in year 4 in this league. It's going to be hard for them to kind of like get a rhythm. Maybe like by the time they get to like June, July, maybe the legs will finally kick in, or their legs will be more shot. But I think this is putting a lot of pressure on Alan Gavilanes and Benton Evans, guys like that, guys like Jesus Ibarra, where they're going to rely on them to kind of be more the focal point of the attack.
I just really wish we were playing them right now.
So to answer your question, the only teams they did not have the most, that they didn't like own possession, was Charlotte, Oakland, and NCFC. But everyone else, they led in possession for the entire match.
Yeah, and I mean, they got the goal they needed against Chattanooga, but this is a Greenville team that, based off performance, is probably performing as one of the 2 bottom teams.
Oh, I lied. Chattanooga. They beat Chattanooga and was with 46% possession.
And they beat them with the pen. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, Greenville and Tucson are definitely, like, the 2 that are kind of like, ooh, I don't know about you guys. But I'm not ruling out Greenville. They still have this talent. They still have the experience where I'm still on they're going to turn around. I just don't know when. Hopefully it's like not this week, not tomorrow. Like maybe they can wait a week for that.
Hopefully tomorrow.
Yo, chill out. like let that happen in like July or some shit. Like,
right, let them have it in July. Well, they're not going to get their month-long break because Dallas J is there. You know, he's not over playing in Guam, so they don't get their month-long break anymore.
Yeah, so we're good. Just like I got a Southern Derby. A Smothered and Cover Cup like game coming up with them. Like, chill out.
Okay, fine.
Like, let them struggle. Let them struggle for a little bit.
All right. And then the last match last week, Abby, your North Carolina FC with a 2-1 win against Tucson. They allowed an early goal and then rightfully took the lead back and kind of were the better teams for the majority of the match.
Yeah. See, I need for them to do like this, but like at home. like that's
all know why that's not going to happen.
Like, first of all, that dumbass. Look, refereeing has been bad in this league. We all know that. But these last 2 weeks, they have been especially bad. And I don't know what to do about it besides yell about it on a podcast and tweet my feelings. So
I was going to say, you want to have a solo cam for this or?
No.
I don't know how to do a solo cam on this. I don't know how to do those controls.
It's like, damn, we really need Yogi. Oh.
Yes.
I don't know. They let that terrible first goal in. I'm very iffy on Pulisic in goal. I want to see what Nick Holiday can do a little bit more. He had that one game. Nick can only get beat on his near post. I don't get it. Like, that's just his kryptonite. Sorry, other teams, if you're listening. Like, you should know that by now. That penalty was quite hilarious because it wasn't really a penalty.
No. It's not a penalty, but it's a stupid decision to go for that tackle.
Yes. Hey, it works for me. Last kick of the game with the penalty 2-1. Now I just need them to like win, but at home, because I'm tired of 1-1 draws at home.
Trust me, as someone that is very well versed on one draws, they don't get fun after a while.
No. That's after the first one. I was like, you know what? This is shit. I don't want this anymore. I'm good.
Too bad. All right. Yeah, that was the previous week matches. So before we kind of go into this week's, we'll do the news update. So the first is the coach of the month. Not surprising. Maybe not. It went to Ian Cameron of Tormenta, leading the stout defense that only allowed one goal. Had a couple wins, had the one loss to North Carolina in the opener, but ever since then they've gone unbeaten with a couple of impressive wins. The player of the month is Tresor Mbuyu, which doesn't surprise me considering he was just a goal scoring machine for Charlotte. Getting a goal and assist, I think was like per 90. I think it's like 1.45. Pretty good. And Irvin Parra had finished second in the fan vote. Terzaghi finished third. Miguel Ibarra, also of Charlotte and Bennett, had finished 21st. But yeah, I guess, do we have any arguments on player of the month or even coach of the month?
Not really. Those are kind of spot on for me, even though I hate it. Yeah.
Well, I think the thing too about Tormenta is if you had asked us at the beginning of the season, like I would have said, like they're going to be a very offensive team. Like all their big name signings were all these offensive juggernaut guys, but they're a defensive powerhouse, and I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing for me. I was like, I don't know if Tormenta's defense is going to be able to keep them in contention for a playoff spot. That was always my biggest concern. I figured they're always going to score goals. Even when they lost Michelot, I was like, they're going to find someone that can score goals. They always do. They always find attackers. But they've always had defensive issues the last 3 years. And now they're coming in. It's like, well, no, we're just going to switch it. And they can still have the attack. Like we saw against Inter Miami, like they still have the attacking potency there, but they are just so good defensively. And it's not even that they're not allowing goals; they're not allowing chances. And I think that's the bigger thing is the fact that they're not allowing these clear-cut chances to happen. It's not like teams are just inefficient with finishing. Like, no, they're just not giving you those opportunities.
Yeah, they're really scary, and if they can keep it up the rest of the year and figure out how to score some goals, they're going to be a real scary team.
Yeah, that is. I think the only other person that could have maybe have an argument for Coach of the Month could have been the coach over at Charlotte Independence, just because we all thought they were going to be shit, and they've not been shit.
Yeah. The coach of the Charlotte Independendence, whose name we don't even know.
Whose name I am not even bothered.
Did they unblock
Let's look it up.
They did unblock us. Yes, they did.
I was going to say they probably just didn't even announce it.
I don't know who the fucking coach is.
Honestly, maybe
Mike
I should do better. Wait, who?
Mike Jeffries.
All right, shout out to him.
There we go.
Congrats, dude.
God, for you.
Former U.S. national teams player. Well, he's been their coach since 2015.
Huh?
And before that, he was with the Menace and the Chicago Fire.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, good on him. Again, I have no reason to think, I just didn't follow Charlotte, and when they didn't put anything out for us to even try and follow, and there's not really a supporter group to us to kind of know what's going on, and then they block us, it's kind of making me less motivated to know, even though we are a League One podcast. Be like that. And then goal of the month, no surprise went to a Chattanooga player. I think that's pretty fair.
Are we going to do power rankings? Because
we can go through this power rankings. Yeah, we'll go through the league's power rankings, and then I was going to ask each of you to give me your top 3 teams. So for the power rankings for week 6, we are going to start from the bottom because we got to do that. And bringing up the rear, FC Tucson. Next in 10th, NoCo. Greenville goes up to 9th. Ford Madison goes from last up to 8th. Fuego drops 1 spot to 7th. North Carolina goes up to 6th. Omaha not playing, dropped 2 places. They are down to 5th. Charlotte comes up to 4th. Richmond, they were 1st place the previous week, losing, dropped them to 3rd. Chattanooga went from 4th to 2nd. And then the top team of this week is South Georgia Tormenta. Honestly, I don't think I have any major complaints on this.
No, I mean,
no.
Maybe you flip-flop Red Wolves and Tormenta, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't know how they don't have the Red Wolves at first after beating NoCo 4-1, and Tormenta got another 0-0 draw, but
I think it was because Tormenta had already been 2nd, so then when Richmond lost, it was just like, okay, we'll just move Tormenta up. I don't know. I probably would have, maybe had Chattanooga first just because of the manner in which they won. I don't know, but I feel like Omaha dropping 2 places seemed a little harsh.
Yeah, I would have put them above Charlotte just because, I get if you're going to do that and we're going by the rules of last year, you have to switch Charlotte and the kickers, right? Because the kickers won. No. Yes. That's
kickers lost, and then
kickers
Charlotte
lost.
Yeah.
Right. But then you would still need to move Union above those. So I would have left Union in 3. But that's just me.
Yeah. And ultimately, it doesn't really matter.
Right. It's one of those
either
where
way, these don't
I definitely
made it matter, but
yeah, I hadn't seen it yet, so I definitely made a face when I heard that we dropped 2 points because I think that's the dumbest thing. When it's like, we didn't play, so do you have that much information about our team that you move it? Well, especially 2 spots.
That was my bigger thing. It's like, okay, I understand if you want to drop up 1 spot. If a team like Chattanooga going from 4 to 2nd, okay, fine. If you want to move Omaha down 1 so that Chattanooga can come up because of the way they won, okay, fine. But dropping 2 seems a little harsh.
Which, whatever. We'll show it this weekend when we beat Richmond 3-1. So
I was gonna say we'll see what happens after this week because I think
I don't think we'll win 3-1.
I was gonna say that would be a bold assumption to win 3-1.
I don't think that's gonna
winning
happen.
is not out of the possibility. Winning 3-1 though,
Yeah.
I don't know about that because I think who has the bye? I think Charlotte has the bye this week, and NoCo.
Yeah, there's
4 games.
There's
no. It's just
1 game Friday.
So Charlotte has the bye. I can't.
And there's a game on Sunday.
NoCo has a bye this week.
Yeah, because they bus back home after the game.
Yeah,
because they brought in all the staff on the bus. I think there's a game Sunday though for some reason.
There is. We will get to that. But what would each of your top 3 teams be right now?
Right now,
yes.
South Georgia, Chattanooga, and Charlotte are my top 3 teams right now.
In that order? Like South Georgia 1, Chattanooga 2, Charlotte?
Yes. Charlotte is between Charlotte and Tormenta. Charlotte and Union for me. So, but I think I would give the slider edge over to, oh, look, a drunk Yogi.
Oh, no. I thought he was joining. Oh, okay. I thought he was joining the actual studio. I was like, oh, God. Oh, no.
No. We don't know what's about to pop up on screen if he joins this broadcast. Yeah, let's be real. I think I would give it to Charlotte at the slight edge, and that hurts me to say so much.
What about you, Chip?
Yeah. I think I'd have Red Wolves, Tormenta, and I guess Richmond. I don't know. It gets hard. I think they have some impressive results. They should have won that Madison game. But so, if we're kind of saying let's add some spin to it, I'd probably say them. But again, you got a couple teams barking on their heels. You definitely have Omaha and Charlotte that are kind of right there. So if I'm doing 3, I'll give Richmond the nod just so that way when we beat them this weekend, I can say we beat a top 3 team.
I have Chat, Tormenta, and Richmond only because, like I said, Richmond played well enough that they should have at least gotten a draw. I'm glad they didn't. But the way they played, I don't think it would have been fair to knock them out and have Charlotte there. Just again, I think 9 out of 10 times Richmond, if that game would have been the same way in terms of the stats and the chances, Richmond probably walks away with the victory or at least a draw. So I'll have Richmond 3rd, but no, I mean, Charlotte has a very strong case. I think North Carolina could put itself in that conversation with another impressive win. So no, I think it's very interesting with this league. I feel like we're starting to kind of get a better idea of, okay, these are probably the top teams. These are probably the bottom teams. And then there's this cluster in the middle.
Mm-hmm. If you were waiting for Football America to... Oh, never mind. It's not the draw. It's just the recap of the Open Cup round. Never mind. False alarm. False alarm.
This draw ain't happening, I guess.
Bro, they made us watch all of this shit just for clicks.
They really did. They're we're gonna drive all the numbers and it's gonna be fun. And Yogi has Chattanooga 1st, Omaha 2nd, South Georgia 3rd.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm sure this will shock nobody, but if you look at the comments on the US Open Cup's announcement of, oh, there's a show and it's at the end, it's all Omaha fans being angry in the comments.
No,
I'm angry. This is bullshit. I didn't want to watch this shit. I just wanted a draw. You made me get up for a draw.
Ben Turner from Who Gives a Hoot says, I kept my kids up to watch this. I got international travel for a week coming up. And you're talking about the 16th.
You decided to bring the kids into this. You should just have said no.
Yeah. When he's well, when we're talking about the 16th place Bundesliga team, what are we doing?
Bundesliga is a vibe. I don't know. All right. Let's get to the preview in the game. So tomorrow, Ford Madison goes to Greenville. The game says it starts at 5. I don't know how accurate that is. I'll find out probably 20 minutes into the match when ESPN will finally show it.
Wonder what they have going on that it's Friday that early. Gio's not going to have time to do his hair after work. That rate.
I don't know what he's gonna do. I for me, it works out because that will be just at dinner time, so I will get to sit down. And yes, it's weird that Greenville has a Friday game this early in the season. I know most of the time they do it because college football in the fall, but the fact that they're doing it now, I don't like it because I would have gone to this game if it was on a Saturday. But whatever. Madison's trying to get their first ever win against Greenville. So what is both of your thoughts on this match? I feel like this is going to be very low scoring.
Yeah.
I just need a 1-1 draw.
Boldest
1-1, 0-0. Honestly, the best part about this game is going to be the fact that I'm going to be at a dive bar in Kenosha, Wisconsin during it, and they're putting it up on the TV. And I guarantee you the local probably being my mother-in-law, being like, why are they showing soccer? Isn't the USSF on? And it's like, no, we're watching.
Oh, no. You're going to get the Bucks game, damn it. You're getting Bucks game 6 tomorrow.
Are they playing Friday?
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting in trouble.
I am going to be, damn it.
Then I'm definitely getting in trouble because my brother-in-law bartends there, which is why we're going. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll throw it up. He's probably purely doing it because he knows that the locals are not going to be very happy about it.
I mean, the locals probably won't be happy that it's a Bucks basketball game either, but maybe the Brewers will play. I don't know. But
I'll be at the pool, and I'll just turn the game on and listen to the audio of an exciting 1-1 draw.
I am not even feeling. I feel like it's going to be a 1-0 Madison win. It's going to be. If there's a time for Madison to finally win against Greenville, this is the time. So I'm going to say 1-0.
Yogi, $20 on Chip saying some wild shit that gets him tossed out of the bar.
I'm going to be a stressful mess tomorrow night. Great. Thanks, life. Why put the Bucks and Ford Madison at the same time?
Look, fam, they knew. They were like, you know what? I bet Kyle could use some added stress.
Yes, let's add more.
Don Garber and Jason Papadakis just got together and said, let's fuck over that Kyle Carr guy.
And then Adam Silver's like, yes,
fuck him over.
Go for it. Yes. And thanks, guys. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah, I feel like that's going to be very low scoring. I think the biggest question is, will either team have enough of an attack to get the goal that they need?
No. And
I will say Madison will. It's going to be an ugly 1-0. It's going to be just like the Henny Derby, ugly as hell. We're going to go to the more exciting matches. The next one, North Carolina FC hosts South Georgia Tormenta. Mm-hmm. Last time these two teams played, North Carolina got a goal and just escaped with all 3 points. That this was the one game Tormenta was like, okay, we're going to actually try and attack. And then they lost, like, fuck this, we're defending.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. And that's a 5:00 game on a Saturday, too. I don't fucking get it. Like, I don't know what's going on. Fuck this.
I just realized the Ford Madison game is actually going to be 7:00 local time. I misread time zone. So Gio will still have time to do his hair. Maybe.
You hope. So I think it's going to be a lot of defense, which is weird because we're very much an attacking team, and we kind of like we don't really go out. Fuck off, Yogi. He's gonna get it, okay? He's gonna get a win and Wake Med Soccer Varsity, okay? Count my words. I think it's like I think it's a 1-1 draw or a 2-1 win. Either way, somebody's gonna win. It's either gonna be 1-1 or we give up that late goal again, like we always do at home, and I cry because it's a 2-1 loss.
I need to stop picking Tormenta to just have these like absolute like giant outpourings of offense. I'm addicted to it, and it's going to happen eventually. And the time it does happen, I'm just going to feel like galaxy brain, and probably Kyle, the rational one, is going to be like, "Well, Chip, you've been picking them to do that all year. Like just because they do it once doesn't mean they're going to do it all the time." It's like, quiet. I think I want to say 2-0. I don't think that's super crazy. I think Tormenta is really the draw has now started for anybody that's listening live who wanted to watch that. I think that they are going to be really smarting over the lost opportunity they had earlier in the week versus Miami. And I think we get something from them.
I'm going to go 1-1 just because this is a lot of travel that they've had to do. They've got to go down to Miami, they go down to Fort Lauderdale. They probably came back to Tormenta at some point on Wednesday, maybe early this morning. Now they're going to North Carolina. I think the legs might get a little bit tired. And I think they still defensively will do what they need to, but I think it's going to be, I feel a 1-1 draw coming for that one. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if either team won. I just feel like this is a lot of travel for them within the last week.
Mm-hmm. Editor's note: you guys can't hear the play in the background, can you? All right, cool.
Yeah. All right, next one, and this, I think this is going to be the. I'm trying to decide if this is going to be vibes or chaos. Kickers against Omaha at 6:30 on Saturday. I don't know what to think of this one, to be honest.
So there's one major person who will not be on the sideline that game.
Jay Mims will serve his suspension for getting a little bit pissed off with the ref just because that is Jay Mims.
Yeah. So Jay is I don't know if you saw that last night, Ebony, but he got a yellow card and the whole stadium started singing his song. So he was yelling at the ref. Again. He's going to get himself in trouble one of these days. But, I think this game will be fun. I think Omaha is feeling pretty confident right now. I think Richmond is one of the better teams in the league. I think it's going to be one of those games where it's a good game, but it's probably not super interesting to watch if you don't know what you're looking for. I think it's going to be like, I don't know. And I think that's really the big thing is with all the offensive power that both these teams have, this could really easily be a high-scoring game, but they're both pretty good defensively. Both have arguably the two best goalies in the league. So it's like I don't know. Like, I think I'm going to say 2-1 Omaha just because I want to have a homer pick and I want to beat Richmond. So we haven't won there
everyone
yet.
could have a homer pick. You can always do a homer pick. That is totally fine. Doesn't matter how the teams are doing. Actually, I'm taking that back. This is not going to be either my vibes or chaos game of the week. I see the next two games and no. This one is going. I think this one. It'll be interesting because we saw last week Richmond definitely had most of the possession, and I don't know if that was just they intentionally did that, thinking they can make Madison cause a mistake because you can take advantage of it, or if that is a change that Darren was planning. And then we kind of saw more of that press against Charlotte. So I think Richmond might be stylistically trying something a little bit different. I will say 2-2 draw for this one. I think both teams will get a set piece goal. I think this is going to kind of be one of those where set pieces are going to make a bigger difference just because I think Omaha is going to make sure to try and limit Terzaghi as much as possible, but that does allow Richmond's midfielders and wing players to kind of do more. While on the opposite, I think Richmond defensively, Akira is still going to make the saves that he needs to. So I'm going to say 2-2 draw. I feel like it will be an ugly 2-2 draw. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, it's just such an exciting game. It'll just be like the fuck happened here kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
And Yogi saying 3-2 Richmond.
Yeah. So, I was also going draw, but like you're saying, it's going to be like an ugly draw. I'm just going to say it's going to be like a boring draw. Like, both of these teams are tired, I think. So they play a lot of games and they're moving further along. Well, Omaha's moving further along in the Open Cup. Representing the little leagues. Let's go. And Richmond literally just came off a really bad game. So they got their ass whooped. So both teams are going to be looking to like build off of a high and a low. And I think it's just going to be like, we're too tired to do all that shit. 1-1.
Fair enough. And then this next one, I am calling this my chaos. Chattanooga hosting Fuego.
You're
going to tell me
that's 3 red cards.
Chattanooga at home against Fuego. No, this is going to be chaotic. Chattanooga's going to do shithousery. Fuego is definitely going to want to try some shit. Like, these two teams are going to try and shithouse each other. This is going to be chaotic. And Chattanooga's going to win 3-0.
I'm giving you 5 goals, 3 red cards, and at least 1 coach sent off.
12 yellow cards, 1 red card. Obleda gets carded. 3-0 Chattanooga win. I don't have faith in. Like, I'm still not sold on Fuego. They've gotten the wins they need to, pouncing on other teams' mistakes, but overall they have not been super impressive. Chattanooga just came off thrashing NoCo at home. I think they're going to do the same thing. I'm going to say 3-0 Chattanooga, but it's going to be crappy. There's going to be and the yellow card's going to come. The red card's going to come early. And that's going to be the ridiculous thing is the red card will come early and then everything else will just be yellows after that.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those games where the ref gives the red card super early because it's like, listen, guys, like, I just need to, like, someone has to get kicked out. Like, we have to do something because this game is just, like, out of hands, and I'm afraid that I'm going to get, like, fired from my job. I have to show that I did something.
Oh, yeah, I got to figure out who's reffing because if it's Danielle, oh, man, that is...
Oh, if it's a Chesky,
if it's a Chesky one, oh, that's going to be even more of a shit show. Like... Mm-hmm. Please give me that.
These are definitely the two like shitbird teams, and that's why it's going to be really great. It's going to be really great seeing them play because everything's going to be the end of the world. Every tackle, every like glance of the ball, it's going to be. I don't know. It's going to be pretty.
Shevsky is not doing that match, unfortunately. Damn. Yeah, damn. Oh well.
That's the one time I've ever rooted for a Chesky match.
You know how bad you gotta be for us to know? Like, we don't know many refs' names. So the fact that we know someone just shows like the history of their shenanigans, including 2 drop balls in an actual soccer game.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's like the crazy thing too, especially when you think like with NISA and MLS Next, it's like, man, where are these refs even coming from anymore?
Their backyard.
It's like we've added hundreds of games a year now with all the leagues that are being added, and
that was their Lyft driver.
But no, that'll be an interesting game. Maybe not the prettiest, but it'll be a lot of fun for the League One heads who just know that it's just going to be a shit show.
I'm so ready.
The referee that is doing this one, though, I will say it should be interesting because this referee, Kyle Johnson, he's made 12 appearances. Last year, actually in 2020, 2021, in NISA, he gave out 24 yellows. In 2 USO League One games, he gave 8 yellows, including a yellow red. And that was, hold on. And the last game, this was the Tormenta, North Carolina one. And in the last Chattanooga one, he gave 3 yellow cards. So I feel like there's going to be some cards.
Louisville City's hosting MLS team in the round 16.
Yeah. Right. And surprising, Charlotte did not bid for a home game.
Wow. Who would have thought? And
then round of 6. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to get to the final game, which is going to be my vibes game because there's going to be a lot of goals. Charlotte Independent at home against FC Tucson on Sunday Night Football, 6 p.m.
That makes no sense. What is the schedule? Yeah, I can see it being vibes. I think it's literally going to be like 2-0. It's just going to be a coaster.
I'm thinking 4-1.
Oh, shit.
Tucson can't defend.
That's fair.
You're throwing Tucson's defense against Charlotte's attack. No. 4-1. 4-1 to Charlotte.
Damn.
Charlotte. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, every Charlotte home game has been some type of vibe. We had the 3-3 Fuego. We had the controversy against Omaha. Okay, the Richmond one's like the only non-like.
Wait, that was they gave the goal when it didn't cross the line.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. There's always shit that's happening. There's always something going on with Charlotte at home. Must watch.
What if the shit that happens is Tucson actually gets a win?
Hey, Tucson won in Chattanooga this year, so it's possible.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to pick them to win, just besides like the laugh about it, but yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I think we're finding more and more out about Charlotte, and we get to see them play a team that I would say Tucson's bad, but they're definitely not the best team. They're probably the worst team in the league right now. So we'll see if they treat them like that and just absolutely whoop on them, or if they have some difficulty. And I think it'll be a nice game to try to figure out what's going on with them.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't play down to their opponent. We see that a lot, and that's how you lose winnable games.
Mm-hmm.
Louisville is hosting Nashville, by the way.
I was gonna say if we want to stall for like 2 more minutes, we'll see who Omaha.
Well, I was gonna say, Eboni, what the fuck is on your whiteboard? I see RICO charges.
RICO charges are bad for your health. Am I wrong?
No. I just saw RICO charges. Like, what the hell is she right back there?
I change the whiteboard up every once in a while just to keep it interesting.
I know. I tried thinking of a YSL mention in the tried having that in the title, but I couldn't think of anything to throw YSL in there. Sorry, just don't NGS yourself.
Oh, yeah. I have some candles. That's my friend's talk that's their wedding cup. It still has 2020 on it because they couldn't get married until 2022. And then after pandemic. And then I've got some shit here. Sporting is hosting.
That sucks. I wanted. Well, we can still play him.
It could be away though.
It just won't be at home.
Yeah, which is fine. That's 2 hours.
Yeah.
But
it's not that bad actually. Yeah, I for some reason thought it was a farther drive, but 2 hours ain't bad.
Gio, love you guys except Kyle.
That's fair, and he's not gonna love me after the 1-0 Madison win. It's gonna be ugly.
Gio, you have to answer the question. Will you have time to do your hair?
While Gio answers that, Eboni, you want to talk about our favorite supporter group in the world?
Which Detroit?
Yes. We already got our comments out there in jokes, but
man, I hate that we're even talking about them because they played. It's not even like they didn't play a good game. Minnesota's hosting, so Omaha will be away
to Minnesota.
I don't know yet.
That sucks.
Gio said he stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. Bet.
There you go. Proud of him.
Detroit played a really good game. They took Louisville to the wire. It was phenomenal. Like, it was a good game. It's the fact that we're talking about you can't say the F word or wear the F word, and you buried the fucking lead about your team telling you can't put up a Palestine fucking flag.
And for me, that's more I feel like a group as online as them would have mentioned that immediately.
Ooh, Omaha away to Minnesota.
At least we're not away to Houston. I can still make that trip. That's only 6 hours.
I was going to say, Minnesota's been okay. It's winnable. It's definitely winnable.
Yeah,
Heath has taken this competition seriously. That's the only, Heath has taken it seriously, so it's not, but it is winnable.
You wouldn't know that based on their fan reaction with every other game is Heath out, but
I mean,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And granted, FC Cincinnati is better this year, but they did lose to FC Cincinnati.
Yeah,
that's still ugly. Yeah, no, definitely a winnable game, but Allianz Field, very, very beautiful. So I will, and Chip, if you want food recommendations in St. Paul, as long as they're still open, I can throw some your way. But go to Blackheart. That is you must go there.
Always go to Blackheart. Yeah. That is such a fucking fun place. Yeah.
You must go there regardless. But otherwise, there is an Ethiopian restaurant. Hopefully it's still open. That's like right around the corner.
Yeah, my buddy lives in St. Paul, so I need to text her and see what we're doing. Because if I go up there, I'll go with her. Probably crash on her couch. Yeah. So, yeah, well, that's exciting. It's not Houston. I think again, I think everyone in Omaha wanted Sporting Kansas City in some form or function, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say out of those 3 teams, I don't know. I have not followed if Sporting Kansas City is good this year. Same with Houston, but.
They're not doing very hot from my understanding.
Either way, I think Minnesota's definitely winnable. It's not like a oh shit kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like you would play in like LAFC, for example.
Yeah, well, even their game versus Ford Madison wasn't like a complete. It was 2-0, but it wasn't, like a blowout, right?
It was 2 set piece goals that Ford Madison blundered, unfortunately. But no, I think that's everything. So yes, we will, once we know the date of that game, we'll make sure to get it out there. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Walking90Pod. We're on Instagram. This audio version will be uploaded at some point tomorrow before the Ford Madison Greenville game. And for Ebony, for Chip, for Brandon, for a drunk Yogi, this is Kyle. And y'all stay easy, stay breezy, and we'll catch y'all later.
See you guys.